My video for October the 26th, 2019 is video number 3248. The title is No Mistakes, Only Lessons. Some days I have many titles go through my mind as to what I will focus on in my next video. Other days I seem to draw a blank. I'm not sure why, but that is how it plays out in my life. Some of the titles I've written down never get recorded. Sometimes titles merge into a single video. There is no fixed pattern. As I reflect on some of the things I've said in my videos, I have wished I could take some of it back, like erasing mistakes. As I reflect on this, I seem to be getting the message. There are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. Life on this planet in this time frame seems chaotic with little or no rhyme nor reason. It just is. I'm sure I've hurt some people at times, and it's also obvious to me that we all hurt others as well as ourselves just by living our lives. I remember saying once, I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. I felt trapped. But I can see that good came out of that error and judgment, taking responsibility for what another might or might not do. Yes, life is like a roller coaster with its ups and downs, its thrills and horrors. Welcome to planet Earth. Heaven for some, hell for others, depending on how we choose to frame it and which part of our life we focus on. Yeah, this is one of those days where I've been bouncing all over the place. I mean, I've looked at political issues, and I'm tired of trying to figure out the political crap that's going on. The only Democratic candidate that to me would be worth even considering voting for would be Marianne Williamson, only because she seems to be the one that I identify with as being a spiritually minded individual. Although someone said in the recent discussion, named another person, or actually I guess that was a phone call that I had earlier today, named another person that I guess is a Democratic candidate, but I've never heard of this individual. And I don't remember the name right now, even as I'm talking and making this video. In any case, Trump is a mystery, an enigma, but life is paradoxical because things change as we take time to focus on different things. And as I've said in, I guess it was the last video, sometimes we can make decisions at one point in our life, and then later, if we go back and look at it again, it doesn't look the same as it did back then. And we reassess our decisions and say, what if I had done this? But we can't go back and fix it, or can we? See, this is the dilemma that we all face, because there are some people that claim time and space and three-dimensional reality, or four-dimensional reality, depending on how you look at it, is just an illusion. We don't start getting into reality till we get to the fifth dimension. Well, of course, the fifth dimension was a group that sang the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I think that's true. In any case, we are in a time frame right now where there is much, much confusion. A lot of people don't know what to think and don't know what to do. And politics isn't the answer, and religion isn't the answer. If we look closely, we can see that they've all been manipulated and convoluted, so that even though there are elements of truth in all of the religions, even though politicians will say some things that at least seem true occasionally, even though we know that if their lips are moving, there's a high percentage of probability that they're lying. Nevertheless, we have to live our lives one day at a time. And we need to do the best we can. And there are days that the best we can is be honest with ourselves and say, I'm confused. and and when we're confused, we can easily make what in retrospect we would look at as being a mistake. But some of the mistakes that I've made have turned out better than I expected. And there's always, if I take time to look at it, there was always good there. There was always good that followed that mistake, that came out of that misjudgment in making a decision. And I'm trying to reconcile the confusion that we all face as human beings living on this planet at this time. Because we look at the news, or maybe we choose not to look at the news. But ignoring what's going on around us is not the answer. And only focusing on what's inside of us is not the answer either. It's not choosing one or the other, focus within or focus without, because both of them are going to affect the experience that we have, because that's the way life is. Everything has repercussions. They might be good repercussions or bad repercussions. And generally, the term repercussion would indicate a negative thing. But some of the negative things that we've gone through have produced wisdom, have they not? We realize where the problems are that we might not have seen if we had not had the experience of going through some of those negative issues, negative experiences. And so we get the opportunity, whether we take it or not, we get the opportunity to reflect. We get the opportunity to reassess and reevaluate and ask ourselves, continuously asking ourselves, what if? What if I hadn't made that decision? What good would I have not been able to experience that actually came out of that choice? You see what I hope you see what I'm driving at. And the bottom line is, we have to live one day at a time and yet evaluate the future and the past. We have to evaluate our lives in this present time. And for some of us, we have to evaluate some of the things that we've received nuggets of information regarding past lives. And I'm wondering, do we also get nuggets of information about what we're going to be or experience in the future? That's the dilemma that I face, and I think we all face it, but they're not always willing to admit it. I'm trying my best to admit the confusion that I go through and the introspection of coming to grips with the reality that I haven't always gotten it right. And I don't even know if right is the right word, because again, we all learn or have the capability of learning from everything. Nothing is irrelevant. There's a relevancy to it all. And I'm hoping that humanity wakes up enough to discover how we can make peace with ourselves, which will ultimately lead to making peace with each other. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.